So automating apps like Pinterest and Instagram is quite difficult using GitHub projects, as it's fairly easy for your account to get banned. So an easy way to, well, to automate these tasks without your account having being banned is to automate the tasks in a way that a human would interact with these elements. So let's say you're running an app or you're trying to automate some tasks in Instagram. You would want to automate them in a way that a user would interact or upload a post. So a good way to do that is to use something like Appium and Selenium. So if I just give you a demo of what Selenium or what Appium can do in this case. So in this case, I'm running a program which opens Instagram on my left, which is an emulator. So like so, you can see here, we are gonna click a post, we're then gonna click on that gallery, we're then gonna scroll down to see if there's any available pictures we can upload. Now because I've uploaded every single picture in my gallery, there's nothing else to do. But let's say for example I accidentally click on one, there's correction checking to see that I've already uploaded that, and you can see here it's pretty much going through the loops again. Alright, so first things first, getting started. So first thing you want to do is download Android Studios. Now this is pretty useful if you want to download or if you want to use an emulator as such, so you don't actually want to use your physical phone, but still it's easier if you use an emulator first, because then you know nothing's going to get messed up if it is your first time automating these tasks. So download Android Studios, and let's say for some reason you're not able to download Android SDK from that, which is also another project folder you'll need to download. Then you can download it from here. It's roughly, so if you click Android Studios and click download, then you can do it there. If you click what's new and click SDK platform tools, and then download it here depending on your platform. Once you click it, you would get something, you would get a zip file, and I've already installed it, so I'm not going to install it right now. And once you have that, it will either install onto your C drive, or you might have to manually move it. Now I'm assuming because it's a zip folder, you'll probably have to unpackage it or unzip it and then place it here. Once you do that, you'll have a project folder that looks like this within your C drive, and then you'll need to specify your environment variables. So this is basically where you would so when Python runs its commands, or when any Java program runs its command, it looks at your Python path. It looks at your path, not your Python path. It looks at your path and then checks what your path is specified to, so it knows where to look. So let's say I'm in command prompt. A very common command that's used within Android's development environment is ADB. And you can see it pretty much came up here with content because it knew where to look, because it knew that platform tools are here, and within platform tools we have ADB here, so it knew where to look. So that's what specifying the path does. So yeah, once we have that done, we can open Android Studios. Once we have Android Studios open, it won't look like this. It will have like a black box with something saying, do you want to open a new project, and this stuff. So AVD manager will probably be at the bottom, and there's some finicky stuff where you'd need to install a JRE. So a JRE is something like that. So you want to get JRE 8, Java 8, so you don't want Java SE, you want something like Java 8 somewhere along this lines. Now, for some reason, I had some issues with the newer version of Java, so you would want to get something like that, Java SE8 or 8U211, some of the older versions, or the ones that I've downloaded here, which is the Java 202, so something like that, because I had some issues with the earlier versions. Then once you've done that, you need to install that to install Java onto your system. And just checking the environment variables. No. Yeah, once you've got that installed, you might need to specify that in your where that Java's that JRE Java file is located here. And if that's the case, just navigate to where the Java file will probably be located, and that will probably be somewhere in your C drive, and you can just find it from there. In the next step I'll show you where it is, but for now just leave it as it is. Yeah. So once you've done that, you want to open your AVD manager, and from here it'll probably be blank, so you want to create a new virtual device. And in this case you would want to get Pixel 2 with Play Store available, blah blah blah, and you would want to do, you also want to install you would want to install Android 9 Pie, so this particular version, and that's about a couple of gig, I think maybe 3-4 gig to install, and that will take time depending on your your internet speeds. And also you can see here that I've specified my SDK here, where the actual Android path for the SDK, once installed, where it's located. But yeah, once you've installed that and everything's good, you then want to go here, you then want to create a new virtual device, you then want to go to Pixel 2, Play Store, blah blah blah, maybe edit some of the hardware specs if you want. Yeah, and once you do that, you press finish, it creates a new device, and then you want to press play. So in this case it will boot up. Now then, once you have Android up and running, you no longer need this Android Studios to be open, and that will get rid of all that stuff. So now you've got an Android app running, you would need to also install Appium Server GUI, and you would also need to install Appium Inspector. Now all the versions, they used to be combined, but in newer versions they come separate. Now this inspector allows you to see the tags as they are within the device, so you know what to actually click on. With this, before you get anything running, you need to edit the configurations. And here you can see I've specified the Java JRE that I installed, and the SDK that I specified here, that was the same in the Android Studios that I opened. So you can see in program files in Java, so if I open that up, so if I go to program files, if I go Java, you can see my JRE here, and then I just specify the path here, and that's for the Appium server. There's a lot of stuff, so it can be quite finicky. So save and restart, I don't need to do, I've already done it. Now another thing you have to bear in mind is the host. So the host will generally be your local IP address, or for your host machine, which is generally 127.0.0.1, and you're listening on port 4723 unless that port is specified by another app. It's unlikely, but you'll probably want to use that. And another thing you want to specify in your Appium inspector is // wd/hub/. That just specifies to a particular point you're pointing to when looking for things on the mobile device. So now then, so once you have that, if you're using an emulated device, you can, I'm pretty sure you can leave this as is blank, and it should work. Now, in some cases it might not work, and you might want to try different variations. So something like Platform Tools Android. So if we click on that, so what we'll do is give it a name. We then specifies parameter, which is a text, and we'll then say what that parameter's value is, Android. So that usually works, but in some cases it might not, and you would want to look at Appium configuration, configuration for Android. No, where are you? Yeah, so these stuff. So automation name, app activity, blah 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 blah. Capabilities, that's what it's called. So you might want to specify the capabilities here. So they're kind of paired as parameters. So platform name, you can see there, value Android. Platform version, that would be 8. Device name, Android. If it's a number, then you can see pretty much everything here is specified as a string, so I'll just use a text parameter. But you would use something like that if it doesn't work in most cases. If you're unable to get your actual Android device name, then what you can do is open the CMD as I showed you before. So ADB devices. And you can see here the device that we have attached is emulator 5554, and that specifies this. You can see 5554 there. Okay, cool. So we got that done. Now what you would want to do is start session, and hopefully, nope, it does not work. Oh, because I haven't started the server up. Okay, so you want to start the server up. It's listening. And you can see it's doing its stuff, so it has connected to it. Okay, so you can see we've got a snapshot here of what the actual screen looks like, peer-to-peered. And you can see each of these elements have certain characteristics. So it has an ID of Instagram, it has an X path of this, and then more certain parameters. This is your XML page. So what that means is, if you were to look at this and you look at so this is an actual web page. So if you look at the commands here, if we inspect it and we look at the tags that are used, you can see that this whole document is a HTML, which is a variation of XML. Now XML is defined as tags. So each tag here has a particular role to play in displaying this HTML page. So let's say, for example, we want to look at what the title is. So the title is getting started. So if we inspect that, you can see here it is a h2 tag with an ID element name of getting started. And you can see here that has a link. So this is a particular button, and this has a link, or an ID name of that. The class is button. You've got style, and you can see it is a href attached to it. So if we were to click on that, we'll be directed to GitHub. So in the same way that works, the same way this works. So if you look more deeply into it, you can see that these elements are specified. So that's Instagram, that's Google Play Store, so on and so forth. So you can see that they are referenced here. So you can see that. So you can see here we have elements, and here you can see Instagram's nested there. Okay, so you might say from there, how do I actually automate these tasks and actually click on them and run them from there? So this is the framework. Now you use a programming language behind that to send commands to the server which is running, which then sends the commands to the Android device. Now I'm personally going to be using Python. It's a very easy language for me to use and to learn, and the particular environment I'm going to be using, or IDE, is PyCharm. Now it's free and easy to use, so that's why I'm using it. There are other ways to do this. You could write it in Java, you could write it in JavaScript, but right now for this tutorial, I'm going to work in Python. So in Python, you need to specify some libraries you need to import. So if we go to File, we go Settings in PyCharm, obviously, and then we want to add some packages. So that would be Appium. So that would be the Appium Python client, and Selenium. And we've already installed that, so we'll just do install package, but we've already done it, so it's there. So yeah, okay, in that case. And yeah, so we're just about here. So if we go into, so I've already written the script that I showed previously. It's just I'm just doing it for demo's sake. Now a lot of the stuff I'm just going to copy and paste from here, so you know what I'm doing roughly, so it isn't too confusing. So if we go back and we do this. Okay, so every single one of these requires this sort of format. You have to have something called desired capabilities. So here we're specifying the platform name, so Android, our platform version, 9, a device name, Android emulator. Yeah. And then we have to specify our driver. So we say WebDriver, which is from Appium, remote. We then specify the link. So that will be the server address, and that will be the port. And then this was the hub, or the ending we were looking for that we specified here, or where it was before. Remember that WD / hub so and so, and then desired capabilities. So what that does is hooks our device up, and then if we look here, you can see we actually click the device, or the actual Instagram icon. Okay, so let's start debugging this. So let's debug temp. So okay, you can see here we've gone into here. So if we then go in the next step, we've then connected up. Now the neat thing about PyCharm is that you can run commands whilst you're in a debugging environment. So while my code is hanging here, I can run this command. So copy, paste, and then if we click it, you can see it's done its thing. So that's one way of doing it. So if we then click on, if we then do this and we try updating this, okay, it's stuck. Sometimes that happens, it gets hanged, so you have to start the session again. It has a habit of breaking. So if we want to upload something, so we know we need to click there. So so if we go from here, go from there, just too far. Okay, so you can see we're somewhere there, right? So okay. So you can see, sometimes you would assume that because that's nested there and these two are the same, you would assume that you would need to open that up, but it's actually here. So it's here. Click that, go into that a bit more, Nope. Yep. So then you would copy that ID there. So you would say something like that. So Control C, and then we'll say something like ID. And you can see in that case it failed because we were hanging too long. That can also happen. So this it can be very finicky running this type of stuff, because when it says this issue, it basically is saying that because the thing's been running for such a long time, it doesn't know what command to accept. So yeah, it's a bit finicky. Okay, so you can see that the button was clicked and then the drop down menu came, and then if I were to go on forward, I'll click on the post and then go from there and so on. But you can see it does, because a lot of this stuff is finicky and very fragile, it has to be surrounded by a lot of try and catch statements. So you can see here we've got a while loop and a try and catch. Then if this throws an error, it catches it, assuming that the command has been called too early and the program hasn't changed yet. So then we go back into a while loop and keep doing that until we achieve what we need to achieve. So we have a lot of this sort of structuring. So try catch in a while loop with the flag, that is assumed to be true. And let's say for some reason we get stuck here, we can just say flag equals false and jump out of that while loop. Okay, so you can see it's uploaded. So yeah, that's Appium automation for you.